Do you worry that you'll put loads of effort into making a product or service for your YouTube viewers and none of them will buy it and months of hard work will be wasted? Well, today I'm going to show you a system you can build to avoid this ever happening to you. But not only that, following it's also going to help you make more sales and give your viewers a smorgasbord of different products to support you that will suit different budgets and bank balances. Now, a quick caveat, this is not a one-size-fits-all system, but the premises can be adapted and applied to all kinds of businesses. So what is it? Well, it's this. Ed, pass me the ladder. What's this? Duh, it's a ladder. It's tiny.
Well, the Amazon review said it was good.
All right, let's just roll with this. Many people, when they think about making their first product, often jump to releasing something like a big course. And that's not wrong, but it's also maybe not the best place to start either. Now, the reason for this is simple. Building a course could take a very long time, and then promoting it could potentially be like asking someone to climb to the third rung of this ladder, or even the very top. Now, unless they are a cat, they're probably gonna struggle to jump all the way up there. And I doubt your viewers are cats. And that could be a very big reason you don't make sales on the product you slogged over, because it might be like asking someone to do something they're not ready to do yet. And the reason they're not ready is down to how much they trust you. So this system is going to show you how to build a product ladder that builds trust over time and helps your viewers make their way up the ladder to your more elaborate products. So let's look at what 4 of these product rungs could be so that you can do this for yourself. Let's start with the first. It's a good place to start. Now, this is all about finding something that is infinitely scalable for you, but there's also low risk for your audience.
You're only going to charge a very small amount for it, might be $10 or $20. I'm talking about things like ebooks, PDFs, spreadsheets, Notion templates, or little animations. It's not something the viewer has to put much thought into. There's very little risk, but you're probably thinking, well, how the heck do I sell something like that? I'm going to introduce you to a little platform called Koji, which is perfect for anyone getting started here. It allows you to take payments, and it also means you don't have to set up a website or anything like that. You can just host and sell your digital products directly through them. If it is your first time doing anything like this, check them out because it makes tons of stuff really simple. A while ago on Film Booth, I interviewed someone called Mama Furfur who actually sold a budgeting spreadsheet and it made thousands and thousands for her. Now, if this is your first time, it is going to feel overwhelming and it is going to feel kind of scary launching a paid product. Even charging like a $5 is somehow going to feel like you're being cheeky. But please bear in mind, we kind of have to sell something because being a YouTuber is expensive. I think I spent like $120,000 running Film Booth's channel last year, so buy my stuff. So keep your first step of the ladder nice and simple. Now, Koji will take transaction fees, around 5 to 15% depending on the product you're using, but I do think it's one of the easiest ways to sell a product that fits perfectly on this first step. So once someone has bought your low-cost item and hopefully loves it, you'll have started to build some trust with them, which means you can start to think about introducing them to the next step of your ladder. And on this rung, we have slightly more expensive offerings like small courses or workshops. These sort of things will be pre-recorded and available at a reasonable price. Now, you might have seen Matt Devella's Simple Habits for $245, or Justin Welch's LinkedIn OS for $150, or even my Avatar workshop for $145. This becomes a natural upsell from your low-cost item to the step above. But where do you build this and host the whole thing? Well, there's a lot of options for you. Now, you could actually use some of the apps available to you on Koji still, but if you have ambition to build much larger courses over the long term, you might want to try something else. Now, one I use for something like this is called Kartra. Now, you might be wondering, is this the best option out there? Well, here's my honest review. No, I don't think it is. It has hiccups, it's a bit clunky sometimes, but it allows you to scale and it's pretty simple to use, and I've used it for ages, so that's why I put it on my list. So let's talk about why Kartra can be a good option for your first workshop or small course hosting, and why, even though I'm sitting here not completely raving about it, it's still a very good option for many people to start on. First up, it's got an inbuilt course builder. You can build an email list, you can do email automation, build landing pages, create funnels, build a membership website, and it even gives you the ability to create your own affiliate system. So it's basically a one-stop machine, which will allow you to scale your business and allow you to hit all of these other steps on the ladder, but it isn't perfect. It's kind of idiot-proof, but the landing pages you build don't necessarily look the best. I've also had odd bookings made through Kartra's calendar booking system not end up in my diary for some reason, and I'm going to talk you through an amazing calendar booking platform on the next rung anyway. But for your first workshop or small course, you don't really need anything too flashy. And actually, you can trial it for $1, so there's a link in the description if you want to go for it. Oh, by the way, if you want to trial it for $1, you have to go on that page and then go to the back button. And when your mouse hits the back button, it'll pop up being like, don't go, have it for $1. Sneaky. Now, there's a potentially more robust platform that you might want to consider upgrading to when you get onto the 4th rung, but I'll talk more about that in a minute. Next, we move up to the next step of the ladder. Now, by this point, hopefully your audience should have begun to trust your expertise. You've delivered amazing value more than once, and that means some of them are going to want to climb up. And although this step isn't as scalable as the first two, it's where the dollar value of your time is potentially going to explode. Now, I do need to say, you don't have to do what I'm telling you. It could be anything on this step of the ladder to sell, but for the sake of this video, I'm gonna say we're gonna start offering consulting calls here. And what that means is you need to be charging more than the step below this ladder, because your customers are gonna be getting tailored one-to-one advice from you that's gonna level up their business much faster than any smaller product. There's people out there like Justin Moore who charge $1,000 an hour and get a ton of business from it. And actually, Patrick Beck-David from Valuetainment charges $200,000 an hour. Good for him, I learned a lot from him. But the joy of this step is, it's so easy to set up. Now, you can do this through Kartra if you want, otherwise Calendly is like $8 a month if you don't want any of the other features that Kartra has to offer. And then all you do is pick some times and dates where you can offer calls, set the price, and then people can start booking out your time. This then automatically gets added to your calendar and theirs, and they've paid you up front too. And now, a word of warning here, be selective with your time. You have to build a channel here, you have to do other things too, so make sure your calendar's not completely open for people, and just pick a certain time or day every week where you are available and leave it at that. This will also mean that when people see your diary, you're more likely to be booked up, and that's a good thing. The more space you have in it, the less likely they are to think you're that in demand. And what does that say about you? Now, you might need a landing page to really sell the value of what people can get on a call, but actually some people just slap them up with nothing other than a calendar. You could also have something else on this rung of the ladder too, and that could be a larger course or digital product. And for scalability, you might find over the long term, that's a much better option for you. But now it's time to whip out the big guns as we move on to the final rung of the ladder. And not only is this going to be the biggest step up for your customers in terms of their investment, it's also potentially going to explode your revenue, with one quite big downside, depending on who you are. This rung of the ladder actually made Ali Abdaal $200,000 in 10 minutes. That's ridiculous. And you've guessed it, we're talking about the cohort-based course system on this step. But it comes with a big warning. Just because these rungs are the same distance apart, it doesn't actually mean the step up for you and your customers is going to be the same as the previous one. So you might find it could take years for someone to finally think they're ready. And myself and others actually reject people from being able to buy it. You have to apply to ensure we can protect the product and the student. And what's more, making a course like this is not going to be easy for you. There's a huge task of actually writing everything and filming it and editing it, plus all of the time you have to be on the clock whilst the course is running if you're delivering live sessions and trying to grow your channel too. But that's not even the worst of it. So as anyone who's ever run any kind of live event, you might find the weeks leading up to it can actually be more hectic than during the course itself if you don't have systems in place to manage all your inquiries. So you do not want to rush this rung of the ladder for that very reason. But having said that, running a live course is awesome. I absolutely love mine. I'd say it's probably one of the most rewarding parts of my job, watching people improve and actually getting to meet people who watch the channel. So it gets a great big thumbs up. Now, when the time's right for you and you build this course, you're then going to need to find something to put it on and host it. Now, we've already spoken about Kartra here, and that is an option to do it, but for your big flagship course, you're gonna want something that pulls out a lot more stops and is a little bit more reliable. And with the platform I use, it's ridiculously easy to set up the different modules of your course. You can schedule self-paced and live sessions, incorporate quizzes, interactive workshops, and then even put in things like exams for your students. I love it, and my students love it too. It's called Thinkific, and there's little plugins that you can add to it that can up engagement. For mine, I have a digital workbook that plugs straight into it, that integrates really nicely, and again, people seem to really like it. There's a link below if you want to check it out, but I will say this, like most of the platforms I've talked about, it is not perfect. The revenue measurement dashboard at the time of filming this was kind of pretty clunky and poor. It was in beta, and it doesn't have that many integrations with many email software, but this can be fixed using something called Zapier, which basically will link all kinds of software together. One thing I will say that is amazing is you can actually link it to Discord so that if someone buys your course, it'll automate it so that they can only access your Discord if they have signed up to your course. But we still haven't talked about the ultimate tool you need that binds every step of the ladder together, and the YouTubers I speak to all swear by it because this tool generates more sales than absolutely anything else. Now, you're gonna hear me talking about this all the time on Creator Booth, and that is email. So being on your email list is a viewer's golden ticket to the first step of your ladder, and then you can introduce them to the second, the third, and the fourth. But with so many options for email platforms, where do you flipping start? Because if you've looked, you might find the best email marketing platforms do come with some hefty monthly fees, which doesn't really make sense for you if you don't have any revenue coming in from products you sold yet. To me, the email software you pick completely depends on where you are in your journey. You know, some people might say $200 a month, that's loads. But if you're making $2 million a month, it's a drop in the bucket. So what do I recommend? Well, I've actually tested lots of email software over the years, and I personally just stuck with Kartra for a while now. Having things like a payment checkout in there and a course builder and form, and a ton of different options to actually scale with, it's pretty much a Swiss Army knife with a few blunt edges. But they will start charging you from day one, unless you take that dollar offer, and then you have $1 for like a month. But you have to pay, and that's scary if you're not bringing in any income. So if you really don't have an email strategy or a product to sell, what you want to do is start with something free like Substack, or you could get onto a free trial of MailChimp just to see how you like that too. Either way, you've got so many tools for creating a product ladder and selling directly to your audience, but until you understand how to establish a loyal customer base, it's going to be really tough to implement this all.
But to sell anything on any of the steps of the ladder, there's 5 things YouTubers need to master to enable you to bring in more revenue, so watch this video next to learn what they are and how to start utilizing them. And in case you're wondering where I suddenly went and why the voiceover changed, in the original version I pointed you to the wrong video.